Yeah, that's weird. I can't hear y'all now.
Oh shit, I was muted.
Okay.
Damn.
Oh
I
shit.
was
That
saying
was
a
a
whole
little
lot.
portal.
Um, Jerome, if you're still in here, send me a request to join. I hope you're still here. There it is. Boom. All right. That was fun. What is up, my brother?
Hey, family. Bro, Abushadi, I heard everything you said when you was muted. He said, Jerome's in the house. Oh, watch your mouth.
Yo, what? That's crazy.
I heard all of that. You know what I'm saying? And you were muted. You ain't even had any sound coming,
Ooh,
but I felt the vibration.
my guy is tapped in. Wow.
Sharp.
Man, brother, thank you for having me on. Appreciate you, David. Shout out to David, brother.
Mm.
Man, and this is a wonderful conversation. I hopped in a couple of times. I hopped in when Devon was on here, and I hopped in when you were speaking, Abushadi, as well. And I haven't heard the whole conversation, but I jumped in some spots, and I just thought it was really interesting. You know? Yeah, yeah. So thank you, just for having this build. Thank you for having this session here. Yeah.
For sure. I think it's something that we really need to start getting serious about in our communities. Like people literally, I know there are people in this community who are just like sitting on money in their bank. I'm just like, fam, like just like a little bit of research into this space and you're going to see ways that you can multiply that money like crazy. Like for me, I don't really have like money in the bank to invest right now. Like most of my money is already in crypto. So I'm like, as much as I want to invest more, like the money I'm making right now is supporting me in whatever, things I got to pay off. So, um, but to the people who are like working consistent jobs and getting paychecks, like really like as much of that paycheck as you can should be going into this space. I really strongly believe that. Um, so yeah, that's where I was going with that. And I'm just interested in what your thoughts are on all this, Jerome, and where your mind's at, and if you're involved in the space at all. And
Yeah. Yeah, brother, I'm still getting to know the NFT world. I don't know too much yet about the NFTs, but I do know some about crypto. I have a brother in back in South Carolina where I grew up, and he's been putting me on the crypto world, so I do have a lot of investments when it comes to cryptocurrencies. As far as the metaverse. I love what you were saying earlier, and I appreciate you for speaking on that and for being conscious enough and being aware enough of yourself to know that, oh, you can balance both worlds. You can kind of be like Aang in the last Airbender, and bridge both worlds together.
mm,
um for me, it's like when I think about virtual reality, i just I have so many thoughts, because, man, truth be told, for the first half of my life, even like into my 20s, I was in that world. You know what I mean? Like I lived there.
mm,
Like the whole Ready Player One, like that was me. I was in there without the headset. Like you could have looked at me, it wouldn't have looked any different. I was a zombie. I was just holding the controller in my hand and just inside the screen, just plugged in, wired in, creating the avatar, having the adventures, the fantasy, the lands, the Elder Scrolls, the Skyrim, like all the way since Donkey Kong and Sonic the Hedgehog, like all the way into the PlayStations and the Xboxes, and I stayed plugged in for years. And I didn't know that as my virtual avatar went forward, my physical was like going backward. Like I thought that things were static. I didn't know that, things don't just stay the same, and so I wasn't taking care of myself. And that virtual reality, man, like I commend you, bro. I feel like it takes a powerful mind to be able to to be in that world and not be seduced, because it can be very seductive.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very seductive. You know, they have ways of making you feel as though you're advancing in ways that, you know, the mind doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the mind is so powerful. I didn't know the difference. Like, if you would have taken a peek into my mind, like, for the life of me, I would have thought that everything I did in that virtual world was real. Like, all those accomplishments, all that loot, all the, you know, the vanquishing of the villains, of the triumphs, of the victories, of everything that I did in that world, it didn't transfer over into this one, you know? But the only things that did transfer over, I would say, were the attitude of not giving up, you know? The attitude of one more try, one more coin, press start, you know? Don't worry about that game over screen. Just keep going. The consistency, the persistency, beyond all odds, you know, beyond all scopes. Like, just press on, press forward, press start. Like, that attitude of just keep going, that attitude of one more try, one more level. I can't put this down. I have to beat this. That has followed me into this, you know, what I'm doing today. But other than that, bro, like, I lost, I lost a lot of things in the physical by the time that I invested in the virtual. So, you know, my story is like maybe a cautionary tale,
Mm.
but I learned a lot of lessons that carried over, and I wouldn't be who I am today had I not had those lessons that I had to learn. So yeah, man, I feel like where I am right now in my head is like, we are social creatures. And, you know, there's ways, of course, that we're doing right now. We're having this dialogue together. We're on this social media. We're on this technology. We're on this platform. And there are still ways for us to connect, you know, to be connected. And so I work on those things. I work on the skills that allow me to connect with a person right here, you know. And I feel like that's still important. It's still important because I thought that I was up leveling. I thought I was leveling up, you know, while I was in that world. But it was like a lot of the things that when I came out, I was like, whoa. I was reorienting myself to this reality, and it was like sometimes I was shocked, bro. It was like, I don't know. I felt like, where was I just now, you
Mm.
know? So there was an interesting story I heard, brother. Somebody did psychedelics and put on the headset and forgot that they had the headset on and lost themselves. You know what I mean? Like, completely, you know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting, like, when you're in a world within a world, a dream within a dream, like Inception, you
Mm.
know? So so I love this conversation. I love this philosophical, like, journey down what might happen. And I did see the new Matrix Resurrections, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed some of the themes that they talked about. So just thank you for bringing this conversation to people. Thank you for enlightening people, and thank you for expanding us to the possibilities, and also, you know, just the comings of the future. Yeah.
I'm grateful, brother. Thank you for that share. Um, it's interesting. Um, you know, what is the difference between us? And I think I said this before, but what's the difference between us being here on these screens? You know, four little tiny screens looking at each other, and putting on a headset and having this conversation in a metaverse. And
Mm.
everyone in this room is also there with their characters, and we're all, in some area. We're all like in a big field in the metaverse, like having the conversation. And it's literally just for that time. We just all decide, all right, there's a conversation happening at 9 o'clock. Everyone tap in. We all go in. We're all like in there. We look at each other. We have the conversation. People all around the world, and then it ends, and we're like, all right. see you guys at the next one. Then you take it off, and you're,
Mhm.
you know, in a forest somewhere, and it's um,
Can I real quick piggyback?
yeah.
So in the first Matrix, Morpheus asked Neo a question. And I feel like this is one of those questions that are going to continue to, just for ages, people are going to always be asking this question. And he said, Neo, have you ever had a dream that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How then would you be able to discern the real world from the dream world? You know? Like if you've ever had a dream, you were so sure, like
Um,
you were convinced, it was vivid, it was lucid. And if you never woke up, how would you know the difference? You know? And that's what I mean, bro. Like I fantasized about getting back into that virtual world. I was all I could think about, you know? I it was me. I identified with being a gamer, with being there. Like it was synonymous with who I was. And I justified going back in that. Like GameStop is right over there. I'm looking at GameStop right down the street. I stood in lines, to get in line to get back into that world. You know what I mean? And this world right here, as beautiful as I see the world today, back then it was not seductive, you know? Like so for me, like my experience, and this is to the individual. This is why I say this is always like the individual person, because everybody's gonna have their own experience. That's what's so cool about this. The way that I almost came to tears, bro. Abushadi. I was in California, bro, and I had this dog with me, the Shiba Inu, and she was like following me, and I took her off leash, and she kept following me, and I was like, oh my god, because I'd never seen one of those dogs like actually follow me. And so I went into the forest, and it was just me and this dog. And it reminded me of all the times that I spent in Skyrim and Elder Scrolls and Oblivion and Morrowind, traveling those forests. I heard the theme music in my mind. In the physical world, I heard the video game music playing as I walked through the forest, went between the trees. Like I had spent so much time in that world that when I was in that environment, in the physical, it was like I woke up and I realized, oh my God, like I'm here. Like this is what I was doing on the video game, but I'm doing this in real life. It was like, bro, like tears came to my eyes, bro. I got so emotional. I've never told anybody this, bro. You know what I mean? And so it was like a feeling that I had never felt with that controller in my hand.
mm,
I had the controller in my hand and I thought I was in control. I wasn't in control. You know what I mean? Like things were happening that I was not aware of. Like full transparency, my relationship, with my ex-wife for 10 years. We were both in our own worlds on that television, bro. So when I was able to experience what I experienced in that world in this one, bro, I was like, I know what it is. There was no going back. There was no going back. So that's just my experience. I don't know if this speaks to somebody, but I feel like, for me, it's just like, man, there's so much that I want to experience that I didn't get to for the first half of my life, that I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good right now. Maybe later, who's to say? But right now it's like, bro, having interactions like flying out to see you, bro. When we saw you in New Jersey and I seen you in the physical and I got to shake your hand, I got to hug you, you know what I'm saying? I got to beatbox with you on stage. Those are the types of things that light me up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I totally agree and resonate with all that. And I think I would like to, I guess, just clarify that and we're talking about this whole space, um, like I'm personally not like I was never like big on video.
Mm.
So when I look at this space, I don't have any sort of like feeling like, oh, I'm gonna like get lost there. Cause like I'm just like I already love it so much out here. You know, like I just, I'm already just getting high off the breath and the yoga every day, you know. So I just see it as just another opportunity, just like the next platform. It's just like this is where it's going. So um it's literally just like if I started making TikToks when TikTok first was invented.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'd been doing it since then, I'd probably have millions of followers on TikTok. If I had started on YouTube and Instagram when they first started, you know, over time I would have built up something really
Mm-hmm.
there. So yeah, I just see it as like, all right, this is clearly where it's going.
Yeah.
Let me get early
Mm-hmm.
and be in control of myself the entire time. You
Mm-hmm.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
Keep
agree.
it
I
simple.
agree, bro. I agree with
Yeah.
you. You know, and I'm in, like you said, with the crypto, I got investments in, like Engine Coin, and I think the Mana and the Sand, Decentraland, all that stuff. Like, I understand it, and I will definitely, be invested because I understand where it's going. Like you say, the wave is going this way,
Mm.
so I'm riding that. But in terms of like placing myself in that environment, I'm cautious.
Yeah.
That's just me. That's just me.
Nah,
I'm not speaking for anybody else. I'm just saying like that's just where I see it. But I totally get what you're saying, and you're right. I agree with you. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm with that flow too. Like, there's no rush to put your likeness or biometric
right.
data
No
into
rush.
something that's
We're not.
who knows where it's going or what's happening. But there is an opportunity right now to generate a lot of abundance and
Mm-hmm.
to do it in ways that allows us to go do these things in the real world and link up and build
Yeah.
together. And that is an amazing thing. So like, it's like we what are we carrying forward? What are we carrying in our everyday flow? What is our practice? How are we approaching things? It doesn't matter if it's metaverse or real world builds. If we're centered and we're honoring our practice and we're being in alignment, then all that is going to reflect that. And it doesn't matter what the avenue is. So
Mm-hmm.
having like initial opposition and resistance to something because it seems like it's a drastic change or it seems like maybe it could be controlled, but like with the quantum reality aspect and Hollywood and movies and phones, we already have screens in front of us telling us and showing us how things are supposed to be. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not that much of a difference to then go into a space where it's more immersive. It's just the same thing on a different level. So, like, what is the metaverse except just another version of reality? And what is another version of reality than what all of our individual experiences are, and then our collective experiences? So it's just like more of the simulation, more of the hologram. So how you carry yourself in the physical version of it, how are you going to carry yourself in the other versions? And yeah, like escapism and externalizing your experience is going to lead to the same thing no matter what it is, whether it's video games or books or getting into something like cosplay or whatever is calling you as like an escape.
Yo,
Like, if you're not present, then like where's that energy going? Like, that's not your currency, that's not your
we got
current.
10 seconds. 10 seconds. Yo, I cut it off.